liquidator have also right to sell the properties, and they convert this properties value into a cash, and they distribute the grades of a creditors and surplus up to the shareholders, surplus of a company to the shareholder. इसलिए आफ्नो शेयरहरूलाई surplus distribute गर्न पनि सक्छ र डेट छ भने ऋणहरू तिर्ने गर्दछ. So that's why the liquidator had the right to sell the property of the company. This is the power of the company. So, and these are the power they could exercise, and they could perform every duty, because there is the time is that yes, after appointment of liquidator, everything is delegated to them, because their power is changed, because there is a change in the context of the company. After appointment of liquidator, some context has been changed in the condition of the company, situation of the company, because company can't work as previously they have exercised, because the power of the board of directors are says, power of the shareholders are says, something has been changed in the company's contracts and company situation. So power is delegated to the liquidator. So the liquidator can exercise such kinds of power. So that's why this is the process. And with the appointment of liquidator, yes, everything is delegated to them, and they could exercise every power. They could sell the property of the company. They should have to prepare the books of account, submit to the OCR. They should have to be informed to the shareholder and creditors, and they should have to convene the general meeting of the company for the final dissolution of the company. These are the different powers they could exercise, which is mentioned in our Companies Act section 131. These are the different rights and power we could see as liquidator can exercise such kinds of power. Yes. Now we'll see how the liquidator works for the purpose of a compulsory winding up of the company. Yes, we know that for the purpose of compulsory winding up, the court of law or the court appoints to the liquidator. With the order of the court, sometimes, yes, there is a provision, we know that for the purpose of compulsory winding up, the company must be in insolvent situation. Without insolvent situation, the company can't compulsory wind up, because there is a provision. We know that there is a provision, section 136 of our company. We could wind up the company according to section 136, and according to the Insolvency Act 2063, and its section 4 has mentioned certain criteria for the winding up of a compulsory winding up. Yes, for the purpose of compulsory winding up, yes, some creditors, some shareholders, and debenture holder could ask the court. They can file the case in the court for winding up of the company. They could move to the court. Yes, at the time, court appoints to the liquidator, and liquidator procedures are generally begun and generally initiated by them. So that's why compulsory winding up takes place only, yes, when the creditors of a company in an insolvent situation, creditors of the company asks to the court for a wind up. Yes, the creditors of the company can ask to the court for a wind up of a company. If the company goes into liquidation, the court of law appoints to the liquidator. Yes, the process of a compulsory winding up is begun after the appointment of the liquidator from the court. Court should have to be appointed to the liquidator. It's the duty of the court to appoint the liquidator and to give the order and issue the order to proceed and initiate the procedures of a winding up. So that's why in a compulsory winding up, company must be in insolvent situation. Company third पल्टेको अवस्था हुनुपर्छ र compulsory winding up मा अदालतले liquidator appointment गरिदिन्छ. This is the process. And the primary objective of liquidator, yes, after appointment of a liquidator, when court gives the order to appoint liquidator, and the primary and foremost duty, your primary and foremost duty is that the liquidator is to raise the as much as funds, and it has to be paid to its creditors. It has to be paid out to its creditors. But जति पनि कम्पनीको प्रॉपर्टी छ त्यसलाई क्याल्कुलेट गरेर it has to be paid out to the creditors. That is the duty of the liquidators. That's why, yes, when court appoints liquidator, he or she calculates every property of the company, and if there is a debt of creditor, it has to be paid out. If there is a profit in the company, there is no any creditors in the company. Yes, the surplus of the company is distributed to its shareholders. All these things comes there. So that's why, for the purpose of compulsory winding up, company must be in an insolvent situation. company not पल्टेको अवस्था धमसयमा परेको अवस्थामा हुनुपर्छ. So that's why the surplus is distributed to shareholder and the debt is paid out to its creditors. Yes, in this way, the compulsory winding up is strongly initiated. So that's why, yes, the winding up involves the following issues. Yes, during the time of the compulsory winding up, there are certain steps and procedures which should have to be followed. And the liquidators should have to be followed certain procedures for the purpose of a winding up. Yes, compulsory winding up. Yes, every contract of the company. Yes, the company, they may have a contract. There may be a contract of a company with third party or any individual contracts are completed, so transferred of the property of the company. So company is no more able to do the business. Yes, there must be criteria. Company is unable to commence their business and company is unable to conduct their business activities. That is the first condition. So at the time, company can be owned out. So that's why every contract of a company, including individual contract, are completed and every contract is ended. So company is no more able to, no more capable to conduct their business or commence their business. This is the first condition. It is that it refers to the company must be is in insolvent. Company insolvent मा हुनुपर्छ भन्छ first condition. Next one is that yes, the compulsory winding up any outstanding legal disputes are settled. Yes, any legal disputes can be drawn. If there is any legal disputes among the board director, any legal disputes among the shareholder can be drawn, so it has to be settled. So through this, the winding up process is initiated, and all the assets of the company are sold. Yes, for the purpose of the winding up, the whole property are sold because the property, there may be the movable, immovable property in the name of company. So this property are sold by this property are generally sold by the liquidator. Liquidator sold this property because every power is transferred to them, every power is delegated to them. So within the limitation of the law, as procedures and different steps are followed and different steps are carried out by the liquidator, and liquidator calculates everything and the property is sold. So, and the property and surplus, and if there is debt, debt is given to creditors. If there is a surplus value of the profit of the company, it is distributed to its shareholder. This is the process. So that's why the money owned by the company, if any, it is left. Yes, this money is left, and it has to be collected, and funds raised are distributed to its creditors, and surplus fund is left after that transaction of the company. Yes, any surplus is distributed to its shareholder. So this is normal process. Yes, if any property in the name of company, it is sold, it is generally sold by the liquidator, and the debts and surplus value is distributed to the concerned members of the company. Yes, this are the general process which comes under the compulsory winding up. Yes, what are the consequences of the winding up of the company? Yes, is in the compulsory winding up. It's winding up, we know that is a kind of the process. It's not a, it's we have to move towards the dissolution of the company. Winding up is just a major and procedures we have initiated, and we have begun the process and procedures for the dissolution of the company, because dissolution is dissolution. With the dissolution of the company, the corporate personality or legal person is ended, because the legal personality ceases with the dissolution of the company. Yes, until the dissolution of the company. Yes, during the time of winding up, legal personality is not ceased. So that's why it's consequence of the winding. What happens there? Yes, to the company itself, what happens here? The consequence of the winding up. Winding up is a procedure just initiate and just it is begun. So that's why it regards as what effect on to the company. What is the consequences there to the company? What is the effect to the company after the beginning of the process of the winding up? Yes, with the beginning of the process of the winding up, there is an effect on the company. Yes, winding up doesn't take away the existence of the companies completely. Yes, winding up doesn't take existence or legal existence of the personnel or legal personality of the company, doesn't take away with the proceedings which is initiated during the time of winding up. Winding up हुँदा बित्तिकै companyको legal personality cease हुँदैन, end हुँदैन भन्छ यसले. So that's why yes, the winding up doesn't take away the existence of a company's corporate personality. So that's why it is an effect on it. So that's why at the time, during the time of winding up, yes, the company continued to it existed as a corporate entity till its dissolution. Yes, till the dissolution of the company, the corporate entity is continuous. It is continued. So that's it. All the ongoing business of a company is administered by the liquidator during the time of winding up. Yes, all the business of a company is administered and it is controlled by the liquidator. So that's why there is no effect on the with the process with the beginning of the process of winding up, no effect on the company's corporate personality of a company. That is the effect on the company itself. And next consequence as regards to the shareholder. What happens to the shareholder? So shareholders' power is seized. So that's why the new yes a new statutory liability comes to the existence, and the power of shareholder is seized. Power is transferred to the liquidator. So that is the consequence to its shareholder. And creditors, what happens? So creditors cannot file the case against the company except with the consent of the court. Without consent of the court, by the beginning of a winding up, without consent of the court, even the creditors can't file the case in the court. Creditors has no right to file the case in the court. So with the consent of the court, creditors could move to the court. वाइन्डिङ अपको प्रक्रिया सुरु भइसकेपछि ऋणीहरूले समेत अदालतमा मुद्दा चलाउन सक्दैन. For the filing of the case in the court, they should have to take the consent by the court. उनीहरूले अदालतको आदेशको बाट अर्थात् अदालतको पर्मिसनको आधारमा अदालतको अनुमतिको आधारमा मात्रै मुद्दा चलाउन सक्छ भन्छ. त्यो वाइन्डिङ अप भनेको डिजोल्युसनमा पुगेको अवस्था होइन. त्यसैले वाइन्डिङ अप हुने बेलामा यसको ऋणीहरूलाई के असर पर्छ भने ऋणीहरूले समेत अदालतमा मुद्दा चलाउन सक्दैन. बिकज एभ्री पावर इज डेलिगेटेड टु द लिक्विडेटर. हामी लिक्विडेटर अपोइन्ट गर्छौँ र पावर लिक्विडेटर डेलिगेट गरिसकेको हुन्छौँ. त्यस्तो अवस्थामा नो इफेक्ट अन द कर्पोरेट पर्सनालिटी, एन्ड द्याट्स वाइ लिक्विडेटर इज फर द पर्पज अफ द filing of the case. If creditors want to file the case in the court, the permission of the court and consent of the court is required and it is necessary. अब यदि मुद्दा चलाउनु पर्यो अदालतमा भने त्यस्तो अवस्थामा पनि अदालतको अनुमति अनिवार्य चाहिन्छ भन्छ. And next consequence to the regards to the management, what happens to the management? Yes, the power of the board of directors are seized. The power of the CEO are seized with the appointment of a liquidator. The power of the board of directors and power of the CEO are seized. So that's why this is the effect on the management. So that's why no power, yes, all the powers of the board of directors and chief executive of a company and other officers of the company tend to be seized. Power delegated to the liquidator, they are not allowed to exercise any power. So that's why it's only the powers to give the notice of resolution and power of the appointment of liquidator. Yes, they have the right to power to give the notice of the resolution of the company. कुनै त्यस्तो resolution छ भने त्यस्तो resolution को notice दिने अनुमति दिने त्यस्तो मात्रै पावर उनीहरुलाई हुन्छ. So every power is seized. Board of director को power पनि seize हुन्छ with the beginning of the winding up process. A process of the winding up. Winding up को process सुरु हुने बित्तिकै board of director को power पनि seize हुन्छ. Everything is controlled by the liquidator. So that's why. And next last one is that as regard to the disposition of the company's property. Yes, what happens about the company's property? So all the disposition of the property of the company is void. Disposition यदि कसैले गर्छन्, it is became the void, and the disposition are only approved by the court of liquidator. Yes, the disposition is possible so the on liquidator. Company को liquidator appoint गरिसकेपछि liquidator ले मात्रै company सोल्ड गर्न सक्छ, dispose गर्न सक्छ र company आफैले company liquidator appoint गरिसकेपछि dispose गर्न सक्दैन भन्छ. These are the consequence of the winding up. The winding up भनेको in short process. So that's the beginning of the process and dissolution process to dissolve the company. So that's why from the winding up we move towards the dissolution. I mean dissolution some of books. So with the dissolution, corporate entirety is seized, but now corporate entirety and corporate personality or legal person is seized with the beginning of the winding up. Winding up सुरु हुँदैमा corporate personality चाहिँ seized हुँदैन है भन्छ. किनभने पावर मात्रै लिक्विडेटरलाई हामी डेलिगेट गर्छौं, अरु काम चाहिँ yes as a liquidator ले अन्य सबै कामहरु सम्पन्न गर्छ. These are the consequence of a winding up. And now yes, with the winding up, yes, there is a process of application of the winding up. How the application of the winding up can be given? Yes, an application for the winding up must be filed with the petition of the winding up in the following entities. Yes, who can apply for the, who can give the application for the winding up? Yes, for the compulsory winding up, application can be given by the company, any creditors of the company, any shareholders of the company, and any authorized person of the central government. गभर्नमेन्टको कुनै अफिसरले सरकारी अधिकारीले पनि प्रतिवेदन उठाएर कम्पनी डिजल्भ गर भन्न सक्छ फर एक्जाम्पल कुनै कम्पनी छ त्यसले राम्रो काम गरेन भने फर एक्जाम्पल अख्तियारको प्रतिवेदनले यस एकपटक चाहिँ यस युनिटी लाइफ इन्सुरेन्स कम्पनीको अख्तियारमा को प्रतिवेदनले त्यति बेला यस गभर्नमेन्टको अधिकारीले प्रतिवेदन उठाएर पनि कम्पनी वाइन्डिङ अपको लागि मुद्दा चलाउन सक्छ इन द इन्डिया एज वेल देयर इज अ सेन्ट्रल गभर्नमेन्ट एन्ड देयर इज अ प्रैक्टिस इन दैट company act as well Indian company act section 439 and 481 says that there is a practice that yes the company can be won from by the report of the government authority or officer. So that's why any creditor, any shareholder, any debenture holder can can file the case, can approach to the court, can ask to the court to wind up of the company. Company wind up गर्नु पर्यो भनेर पनि डिबेन्चर होल्डरले शेयरहोल्डरले ऋणीहरूले अथवा गभर्नमेन्टको कुनै अधिकारीले भन्न सक्छ इट डिपेन्ड्स अन द सिचुएसन एन्ड कन्टेक्स्ट अफ द कम्पनीको कन्टेक्स्ट कस्तो हो सिचुएसन कस्तो हो त्यस्तो अवस्थामा एप्लिकेसन चाहिँ on behalf of the company आफैले पनि दिन सक्छ यसको ऋणीहरूले जान सक्छ डिबेन्चर होल्डरले जान सक्छ these are the processes and next one is that yes winding up of a company by the tribunal or the court yes court can yes at the time if any creditor any shareholder or any government officer any debenture holder of the company if file the case and they approach to the court if they ask for the court to wind up of a company at the time the court may give the order court may issue the order for the winding up of the company and with the order of the court they also provides the order the court also gives the order court also issues the order to appoint the liquidator as well because the liquidator are in the compulsory winding up liquidator are also appointed by the court of law and court also appoints to the liquidator and liquidator everything controls by the liquidator and they calculate the surplus profit debt of the company and if the property of the company has to be sold and they sell the company property and it is converted into a cash and they distribute its debts and surplus as well so in this way they court and tribunal appoints to the liquidator for the purpose of the compulsory winding up and everything is controlled by the liquidator and liquidator submits a report and liquidator convene the general meeting of the company for the purpose of the resolution अनि अन्तिममा सबै लिक्विडेटरले सबै प्रतिवेदन तयार गरिसकेपछि उनले अन्तिममा डिजोल्युसनको लागि कम्पनीको जनरल मिटिङले बोलाउँछ कल गर्छ र विथ दिस in at the last call of the general meeting of a company the company can be owned off त्यसरी company owned off हुन सक्छ so that's why the court order the order of the court is yes some company can be winding up compulsorily by the with the order of the court so our insolvency act 26 section 4 has mentioned that there is certain criteria which is mentioned and shareholder and creditor and the 10% of the 10% of creditor 5% of the shareholder 5% of debenture holder can approach to the court can file the court case in the court by asking the winding up of a company winding up गर्नु पर्यो भनेर त्यति प्रतिशतले जान सक्छ भन्छ त्यस्तो अवस्थामा गयो भने कोर्ट मे गिभ द अर्डर एन्ड कोर्ट अपॉइंट्स टु द लिक्विडेटर कोर्टले नै आदेश दिन सक्छ कोर्टले लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट गर्न सक्छ so in this way the company can be wind up now what are the procedures for the winding up of a company what are the procedures are there yes the process of winding up of the company yes special resolution has to be passed by the company first companyले विशेष प्रस्ताव पारित गर्नुपर्छ process of winding up we are going to conduct whether it is a compulsory winding up or whether it is a voluntary winding up it depends on the nature of the winding up of forms of the winding up so that's why the first special resolution has to be passed by the company general meeting पहिला companyको general meeting ले special resolution has to be passed and the consent of 3 or 4 members or shareholders the consent of the shareholders is required shareholder को consent चाहिन्छ for the carried out of the winding up of the company so its members is required to be winding up to be carried out by the court so that's why the first special resolution has to be passed out by the general meeting of the company को general meeting ले pass गर्नुपर्छ त्यो प्रस्ताव and the list of the total assets must be prepared and they should have they should have to appoint to the liquidator and the list of this property of the company has to be prepared they should have to appoint to the liquidator and the list of the property list of the creditor list of the shareholder everything is prepared by the liquidator So these are the general process. So that's why numbers of the creditors in the company, numbers of the shareholder, and the list of the property. Company को सम्पूर्ण property को listing गरिन्छ, यसको creditorहरूको listing गरिन्छ, shareholderको listing गरिन्छ. So in this way, if there is a debt is to be paid out to its creditor, it has to be paid out. And if there is a profit of the company, it is given to its distributes to its shareholder, यसको shareholder distribute गरिन्छ. This is general procedures. This is general process of the procedures of the winding up of the company. So for the purpose of the winding up, we should have to be appointed to the liquidator, whether it is a commercial winding up or whether it is a voluntary winding up, it doesn't matter. But liquidator, appointment of liquidator is essential. In the compulsory winding up, court appoints to the liquidator, and for the purpose of the voluntary winding up, yes, court appoints to the voluntary winding up, generally voluntarily by shareholder, and its creditors generally voluntarily appoints to the appoints to the winding up. Yes, winding up को लागि compulsory हो भने अदालतले नै यस compulsory winding up को लागि कुनै shareholderले डिबेन्चर होल्डरले मुद्दा लिएर गयो भने अदालतले appoint गरिदिन्छ liquidatorलाई, र voluntary winding up मा shareholderले अब shareholderको voluntary winding up हो कि ऋणीहरुको voluntary हो भनेर हेरेर ऋणी र shareholderले liquidatorले appoint गर्छ. And liquidator are generally they are professional persons or any professional entity or professional company. Liquidator मा को रूपमा काम गर्ने कुनै व्यक्ति पनि हुन सक्छ, कुनै त्यस्तो खालको corporate entity पनि हुन सक्छ. उनीहरुले liquidation process लाई पूरा गर्नको लागि काम गर्ने गर्दछ. So that's why these are the general procedures of the process of the winding up of the company, and these are the process and these are the duties of the liquidator. We are saying liquidatorले सबै त्यो ड्युटीहरु सबै प्रपर्टीहरु हिसाब किताब गर्छ, and they calculate the property, and company can be the owned up in this way. So these are the procedures of the winding up, and especially we have talked today about the compulsory winding up and its procedures. And tomorrow we'll discuss on the topic of the voluntary winding up of a company. अब भोलि हामी voluntary winding up process मा हेर्छौं. The first today the class is over now. आजलाई हामी यति गर्छौं. Okay. Wait for a moment. I'll tell you your attendance. बुझिराख्नु भएको छ यसमा के क्वेशनहरु छ? As compulsory winding up, Insolvency Act, it is attracts it. Insolvency Act आकर्षण हुन्छ. Section 136 मा छ compulsory winding up, and voluntary winding up section 126. 126 को आधारमा क्रेडिटर्सले यसको मेम्बर्सले voluntarily अब हामीले कम्पनी सञ्चालन गर्न पुग्यो भनेर voluntarily winding up मा लैजान सक्छ. So that's why for the purpose of the compulsory winding up, court itself appoints to the liquidator. अदालतले नै the competent व्यक्तिलाई competent professional liquidator like अदालतले as a liquidator को appoint गर्छ. And after the appointment of liquidator, every power is seized. Board of director को power seized हुन्छ, and liquidatorले सबै property sold गर्न पाउँछ. त्यो राइटहरु सबै liquidator मा हस्तान्तरण transfer भएको हुन्छ. So that's why power of the company, a legal personality is seized हुँदैन. So that's why liquidatorले त्यस बीचमा मुद्दा चलाउन सक्छ. कम्पनीमा भएको best interest of the company को लागि liquidator everything is controlled by them. सबै liquidatorले control गर्छ. So that's why generally especially the power of the board of directors seizes. Generally board of director को power seized हुन्छ, it is transferred to the liquidator, and liquidator calculates every profit of the company, debt and surplus profit, and these are calculated by them, and progress report should have to be submitted to its creditor and the OCR as well within 6 months. 6 महिनामा यसको प्रगति विवरण बुझाउनु पर्छ. So in this way the company are liquidated generally. The company are generally owned up. यसरी company generally voluntarily compulsorily owned up भइराखेको हुन्छ. And yes, for today the class is over here, and tomorrow we'll discuss on the topic of voluntary winding up. Okay.